Welcome to Ricky PFC and welcome to my World Cup Budget Stack series. In these videos I'm going to be going over different teams and players that you can enter into your Global Cup as well as your All-Star and International Specials during the World Cup to hopefully win you some prizes without breaking the bank. And I'm going to do the research so you don't have to. Let's get into it, guys. So, something to consider before we move on to the players. Japan are in Group E. Now, Group E is quite a tough group. They've got Spain and Germany, but then Costa Rica in their group. Quite a tough one. Can I see them coming out of that group? I'm not sure. Germany have underperformed notoriously in the last couple of international tournaments, and they are missing some key players like Timo Werner and Marco Reus. Will that affect them? I don't know. I would still put my money on Spain and Germany to top this group. However, Japan have definitely got a squad that can be underestimated. I think they've got some great players, and I wouldn't be massively surprised if there was an upset. Anyway, guys, let's get into the players. Okay, guys, so goalkeeper for Japan. Quite a tough one because I was thinking Shuichi Gonda would get the call up to be the #1 goalkeeper, but there's a lot of talk between people on the internet, on different resources and stuff like that, that actually he might not get the call up. He might not actually get the start, should I say, as the #1 goalkeeper. This might be down to the fact that Shimizu Pulse actually finished in the relegation zone this season. But let's just have a quick look. Shuichi Gonda, good scores overall for a goalkeeper, puts in some 80s every now and then. And as you look here, this is the tricky part. Nationally, he played 15 of the World Cup qualification games. But you're getting a lot of people, I'm seeing from the research that I've done, actually giving Daniel Schmidt the nod as Japan's #1 goalkeeper. If anyone has some insight into this, leave it in the comments. Let us know, because no one wants to spend money on a goalkeeper and then find out that they're the second string goalkeeper. But yeah, the other option, St. Troyden Daniel Schmidt. Again, decent scores, playing in the Juniper Pro League. And if you look here, this is a thing that can put me off. Not played any of the World Cup qualification games, just a Kirin Cup game in 2022, just one. But he seems to be getting the nod, so please let me know either way. Anyway, let's move on. Hiroki Sakai. So the defenders was an interesting one. I'll let you know why at the end. But Hiroki Sakai is my pick. Very cheap, £8.91. Plays for Urawa Red Diamonds. I always struggle to say Urawa. But yeah, he's a pretty solid defender, to be honest, and I think he would be really good in your World Cup squad. £84 for his rear. If we look over to the amount of games that he's played, as you can see, 10 World Cup qualifiers, which is quite good out of the defence. So let's move on to the next one. Wataru Endo. Wataru Endo is limited as £11.78, and you can pick his rear up for £185. He's a Stuttgart player playing in the Bundesliga. And again, steady scores throughout, 70s, 60s. He plays as a midfielder and a central defensive midfielder. He's played a lot of games leading up to the World Cup for Japan. I think he's considered pretty big. It does say that he's injured there, but he's still made the World Cup squad as a call-up. And as you can see, it's concussion, so that's doesn't really tend to be a long-term injury, concussion. So as you can see, played 13 of the World Cup qualifiers, and he put in 1 assist as well. I think he'll be considered one of the key men in midfield for Japan. Next, we move on to the forwards. Bit more on the pricier side, Yunya Ito. Ito, you can pick him up for around £70 or £6.20 for his rear. And this guy is a striker / winger, right striker. The thing with Ito is you are getting a lot of utility outside the World Cup as well. He plays for Reims. I believe he played for Genk last season. He plays for Reims this season, and as you can see, he's absolutely smashing it with the scores. So this is a great guy to have outside of the World Cup when it's finished as well. Please do consider when you're buying these players, their prices might be slightly inflated due to the World Cup and they might come down after. Not financial advice, but just a warning. Do your own research and I can help you out the best I can. Yunya Ito, one of the main men. 14 in the World Cup qualifiers he played, and he scored 6 and assisted 2. Definitely going to be considering him one of the main men for Japan making the squad. And my final guy in the extras, really love watching this player playing for Eintracht Frankfurt in the Bundesliga, Daichi Kamada. Daichi Kamada, you can pick him up for around £50 for his limited, £600 for his rare. And this guy has been absolutely killing it in the Bundesliga. One of the best players in the midfield in terms of central attacking midfielders this season in the Bundesliga. Look at these. Dr. Decisive of Japan right there. Great player and a good option for £50. Played 8 of the World Cup qualifiers, scoring 3 goals. And in the Kirin Cup, he played 1 game as well. But let's take into the consideration his recent form. I think he has to be put in. I could be wrong. Please let me know in the comments if I am. But I think he makes it. So that is my team. Now I'm just going to go over a few other options who I think might get in. Kearu Mitoma, playing for Brighton, who's had a breakout season at Brighton. He's been doing really well recently. Formerly of Kawasaki. You can pick him up for about £54 for his limited, £422 for his rare. And as you can see, he's been doing pretty well for Brighton, and they are considering one of his starting players at the moment. He's been really good, and he has been called up. Don't be surprised if you see him in the mix for the starting lineup or playing a big role in Japan's World Cup. Next player, on another option, Maya Yoshida. Now, I really wanted to pick Yoshida because he seems to be one of the number 1 centre-backs for Japan. The problem we've got is there's no limited printeds of him. He's playing for Schalke at the moment, so I imagine they will start printing some at some point. But there's no minted limiteds of Yoshida. But you can pick his rare up if you're looking for rare players for £94, and I believe he will start a lot of the games as a centre-back for Japan. Next, bit more off-field this option. Previously, throughout the last few years, Yuto Nagatomo has been one of the main players for Japan, but he is 36 now. That might go against him. He had some good seasons at Marseille playing in Europe, and then he returned to FC Tokyo recently. You can pick his limited up for £2.34, and you can pick his rare up for £33.24. I personally believe that his age may play against him this time, although it's my understanding that the manager does like him, which is why he's got picked up and still called up to the team. So that's a very cheap option. Whether he starts or not every game, I'm not sure. I'll leave that up to you. So guys, another one. Ritsu Doan plays for Freiburg. He's had a good season. He's been chipping in for decisives here and there, and he is another one I would consider more of an impact sub. Whether he'll be starting games, I'm not exactly sure, to be honest. But he's going to play a big part in the World Cup, I believe. So Ritsu Doan, £39.67 for his limited, which is, pretty good. You're going to have utility outside of the World Cup with Ritsu. £470 for his rare. Someone to consider. So guys, this entire squad, as you can see, I've gone for Daniel Schmidt, Hiroyuki Sakai, Wataru Endo, Yunya Ito and Daichi Kamada as my team for the World Cup for Japan in the budget options. Still not the cheapest, but a good option. And just remember that there is a bit of contention between Daniel Schmidt and Shuchi Gonda. That's something to consider when purchasing these stacks. Overall, this will cost you 0.199 ETH, which comes to £212. So a little bit more pricey than the Canada stack, but still very, very reasonable to enjoy your World Cup Sorare experience. So in terms of the Global World Cup, let's look at how much this team would cost you in terms of the free-to-play game. Sorare, as you can see, are thinking the same as me. They're not sure if it's Daniel Schmidt or Shuchi Gonda, which is why it's 9 for each. I'll leave that up to you. Maybe best to swerve the goalkeepers in this case. Hiroyuki Sakai at 8 as one as the highest out of those. Yuto Nagatomo 6 as the lowest. Kind of goes along with what I was saying, really, guys. Midfielder. Wataru Endo, as you can see, is one of the highest at 10, as well as Daichi Kamada. Again, really good players. I would definitely, you know, if you're looking at having a Japan player, Daichi Kamada is top draw. And to finish off for the forwards, Yunya Ito is the highest at 11. Also some good options there as well. Ritsu Doan is a 6. Which is slightly lower if you're thinking of having him in as an impact sub. Don't forget these two guys are also good, Daisen Maeda and Takifuso Kubo, who plays for Real Sociedad. Another great option. So guys, thanks a lot for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed this one. If you want to join my Global Cup private league, I will leave a link for it in the description. Thanks for joining me, guys. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.